Before we begin, chances are there will probably be some fans of JT coming to see this video, and they may not like what I have to say. That's perfectly fine, and I'm not trying to convince them that they shouldn't like JT. I'm just trying to offer my honest criticisms, and you're all free to do the same to me. All I ask in return is that we try to keep the conversation civil. Sound fair? Alright, so who is JT? JT is a channel that appears to have started out with a focus on creating content relating to the game Fortnite, but over time transitioned into discussing more general YouTube problems. JT is actually one of the main inspirations for starting my own channel, though unlike myself, his content typically focuses more on specific individuals rather than general issues. Typically, when someone is an inspiration, it's because they're admired for what they do or seen as a role model. Instead, I see JT's channel as a story of failure. An individual who believed they were making a difference, an idea further fueled by his naive audience. Eventually he tried to claim he was the savior of YouTube, and ended up becoming the very thing he hated. It's quite tragic if you think about it. Let's start by getting one thing straight. JT's actions and content generally suck at causing meaningful change, and that is a statistical fact. His audience has made statements like, he's the sheriff of YouTube, he's the YouTube police, and they're completely wrong. A better comparison would be that he's an expose news outlet. He complains about people and then rarely does anything that would improve the situation. Don't believe me? Then how about a few examples to demonstrate out of his current list of videos? I'll start out by talking about the situations where JT's videos did clearly lead to change. First, we have his two videos documenting his success in getting the channel, I think it's pronounced Kaldon Sajana, terminated for stealing videos from other creators, including himself. The channel has come back, and after looking over their content, I think they've improved, but the language barrier does make that a bit hard to confirm. He also made videos on accounts impersonating other creators both on and off YouTube, as well as called out some creators for stealing thumbnails. Quite a few resulted in changes within a few days of the videos, to which I can attribute at least 7 videos resulted in success. Then there's his impact in the whole situation relating to abuse of community contributions, where people were using it for self-promotion and then attacking JT after he made videos calling them out for it. It's very clear his actions helped bring the topic to the attention of much larger creators, who combined were able to get YouTube to make a change. Wasn't a great change, but hey, that's not the point. What you may notice so far is that apart from the last one, JT's successes have covered very isolated, relatively minor problems, a few of which probably would have been resolved without his input. With that in mind, let's compare these successes to the topics he's covered where his videos did not lead to improving the situation. First, we have his 3 videos on Lispy Jimmy running scam livestreams. In the first 2 he calls him out for scamming Fortnite fans, the last one he shares that one of his livestreams got taken down by YouTube for that specific reason. Doesn't matter though, because he was back to doing it for future Fortnite events, and his past stream recordings were never taken down, so the consequences were essentially pointless. Oh, what about when he called out the channel Fortnite First for using the names of popular people to get views, intentionally manipulating context for clickbait? Well, they changed their name, reached 1 million subscribers, and are still using the practices JT specifically complained about. They seem to have calmed down a little bit in the more recent videos, but it's still pretty bad. Maybe we should move away from Fortnite and look at his videos on Enes Batur and Morgz for copying other popular creators. Yeah, no, same situation. A few changes were made to certain videos for each creator, but not all of them. To be fair, you could argue they did nothing wrong as it's simply imitation, though I don't necessarily agree with that. I think I'm just going to rapid fire these next few off. Showing Jake Paul live for views. Nope, still up and unchanged. Beat the Zoo getting hacked. It's improved, but it did take over a year to happen, and it wasn't even a proper fix. YouTube banning iDubbbz's content cop video on Leafy for bullying. Still removed, though ironically they didn't do anything about the re-upload, which has now been up for over a year. Nice job upholding your own rules, YouTube. Keep uploading Family Guy clips. I'll admit that the original channels shown in the video appear to be gone, but the problem still exists as a whole, arguably worse now. Ban Jaystation? Yeah, that did eventually happen, but it was over a year since JT released the video, so it's hard to give him credit for it. Same thing with iReact/Supreme. T-Series buying views from illegal sites? You think YouTube's gonna ban a prime source of ad revenue? Don't be ridiculous. Notice a pattern yet? All these topics covered either very large channels or issues that affect YouTube or its community on a larger scale. Apart from the two exceptions, JT's videos on these topics always resulted in failure, and even with the smaller stuff he wasn't consistent. And then we have the actual percentages. I went through every video currently on JT's channel and categorized them based on impact. The results were we have the 15 videos where JT had a clear impact, 13 videos where impact happened, but I can't prove or disprove it was JT's fault, 37 videos that covered topics that were either already solved or weren't a YouTube-related problem, and the remaining 43 videos were on topics JT had no impact on whatsoever. Cutting out the irrelevant videos, we calculate that at best, JT's success rate based on video count was less than 40%, and at worst was just above 20%. Calculate it based on unique topics instead, and it's even worse. If you want to check my findings, the full list is available on my public data table linked in the description. But do you see now why I say JT sucked at causing change? It makes a lot of sense though. After all, it's a lot harder to get his fans to bully the big guys into submission, right? What? Did you honestly think those thumbnail thieves changed their ways because one guy with a few 100,000 subscribers called them out? He literally has a video on his channel praising his fans for it. I mean, look.
We, as in me and the people who watch my channel, have ruined this certain YouTuber's comment section. Like, badly. Really badly. It's actually something to celebrate.
Harassment should be celebrated. Huh. Truthfully though, I'm not really bothered by JT doing this. Pretty much everyone he targeted was breaking some form of YouTube guideline, and I personally wouldn't trust YouTube to do anything about it themselves. Though frankly, I'd be a bit more forgiving if he did a better job covering the actual problems for some of his topics. Take the whole thing with Kalon Sajana. We have a multi-million subscriber channel stealing videos and thumbnails from a wide variety of creators, and they somehow haven't been caught until JT finds it? Why didn't the thumbnails alone tip anyone off? Is the language barrier just that strong? Yes. Yes, it is. Then there's the Family Guy topic. Obviously, re-uploading episodes of the show is bad, but almost every show ever created has the same problem. Copyright shouldn't let this stuff happen, but it does all the time, sometimes surviving for years. Going after a few channels isn't going to fix that in the slightest. And let's go back to Jaystation for a second. As JT pointed out, he made multiple videos profiting off the recently deceased, and was able to get away with it every time. Well, he's not the only one who did it. There are other channels that have done the exact same thing and faced no punishment despite keeping their videos up. I'd argue that is a bigger problem, and this lack of action is what led to Jaystation getting as far as he did. There are a few others I can point out, but to summarize, problems do not show up out of nowhere. There is always a reason for them. Jumping on the bandwagon gets you views, yes, but it is less likely to address the true problem, and without doing that, it's just going to be exploited by someone else in future. Despite his videos showing people faking Fortnite events, people continue to do it. People keep lying about their videos' content because YouTube never punishes them for it. Punishment for false copyright strikes feels non-existent, and along with Enes Batur being a prime example of that, he's clearly learned nothing from his interactions with JT, as he's continued to plagiarize the work of other creators. Need I go on? Last thing I want to do is address what is currently JT's final video, his apology for falsely striking Keemstar. If you think I'm going to be stupid and argue a person in his position shouldn't make such a mistake, I'm not. I think he made the right calls with the information he had, and overall handled it the best he could. I've personally not seen a better apology video, and I do commend him for that. I will criticize him on his disappearance though. Not on the action itself, but the fact that he did so without a word. When someone messes up, it's not the apology that matters. It's what you do afterwards to make up for it. You try to be better, prove you deserve the second chance given to you. JT didn't do that. Instead, he effectively chose to run away, or at least that's what it looks like. I can't say why, maybe fear of messing up again, maybe other things got in the way, I don't know. Regardless, people genuinely miss him, and I feel that wordlessly casting aside everything he built up is not the answer his fans deserve. All of this loops back to the topic in the title, of JT claiming on his Twitter that he was a savior of YouTube, and I believe by now I've shown why I think that claim was undeserved. Honestly, I think nobody deserves that title, and trying to claim it is downright disrespectful, because it implies a single person is able to change YouTube. Fixing YouTube problems has always been a team effort of the community banding together to address a concern, and JT's own videos prove that very fact. Though it came after his departure, I'm glad he did remove the claim, because him being a savior is an absolute joke. But all that aside, I don't hate JT. Despite my complaints, I believe his heart was in the right place, and I can appreciate anyone willing to talk about YouTube's problems. I also think that his approach for focusing on individuals could be effective if he just slowed down a little and gave more thought into why the given problem was happening. If he ever does come back, I think it'd be very interesting to sit down and have a conversation with him. Though after this video, I doubt he'd want anything to do with me. I did just insult his channel's existence after all. And hey, thanks for watching the video to this point, especially if you're a JT fan. I always assume the worst in someone else's fanbase, and just expect them to leave dislikes and hate comments without actually hearing what I have to say. That's why I focus on general issues rather than specific individuals. If you happen to be interested in that, I have a whole playlist of them to look at. Otherwise, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. I don't really know how to end this video. Perhaps I'll just borrow a line from JT's final video. I hope you have an amazing day or night. I'm out.